By the power vested in me, I hereby constitute this assembly as a legal congregation of the University of Pretoria. During this assembly, degrees with all the associate rights and privileges will be conferred on the candidates whose names appear in the program. Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, we request you to join us in silent prayer or meditation to give thanks for the achievements of our students. I thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as Vice Principal of the University of Pretoria, allow me to extend a warm word of welcome to all present here today at this very truly special event. Today we are celebrating the achievements of our students graduating in the Faculty of Natural and Agricultural Sciences, specifically those in Agricultural and Food Sciences. Allow me to also extend a word of welcome to our Acting Dean, Professor Marieke Potgieter, our Deputy Director, Enrollment and Student Administration, Dr. Elmarie Liebenberg, a warm word of welcome to our heads of departments, supervisors of our postgraduate students, and also lecturers within departments, and then also to the representative of the Student Representative Council. Most importantly, I would like to extend a special word of welcome to all our parents here today and the families that are celebrating the achievements of our students. Ladies and gentlemen, this ceremony would not have happened were it not for your support and the achievements of our students. You are truly our VIP guests today. What an exciting time for the University of Pretoria. Today is the 20th ceremony of 32 in this autumn graduation period, where a total of 11,649 degrees will be conferred. In this session, we will be conferring 278 degrees, of which 17 are at the doctoral level. I think we can give a hand to the faculty on that. 47 at the master's degree level and 45 at the honors degree. Ladies and gentlemen, the remaining 169 comprises of 4-year degrees and 3-year bachelor degrees. Graduation season is always a very special event for the university, but it's not the only reason why I call this an exciting time for the University of Pretoria. Just a month ago, we launched the Future Africa Institute, our new flagship research institute and Pan-African platform, which we foresee changing the world through African research excellence. This facility of approximately 21,000 square meters, developed on the eastern side of the experimental farm, will be hosting more than 300 postdoctoral fellows and doctoral students from across Africa to work on multi- and transdisciplinary research topics that will support our sustainable development goals of the African continent. This hub for African scholarship will promote excellent and diverse multidisciplinary research by establishing multinational and academic leadership networks and communities, with the aim to conduct impactful future-focused research, recognizing both the roles of talented individuals and importance of interconnected team-based approaches. The facility also hosts a world-class conference facility, which recently saw the launch of the African Research Universities Alliance Center of Excellence in Food Security. The theme of the launch was the future of food in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the only Center of Excellence for Food Security hosted by the University of Pretoria. Our Institute for Food, Nutrition and Wellbeing also co-hosts the DST-NRF Center of Excellence in Food Security. This institute provides a platform that brings together extensive experience related to food security across 7 faculties and over 35 disciplines. Related to food security, 35 disciplines. I'm very happy to see that a number of our doctoral graduates today worked on applying science to solving issues related to producing more food in sustainable ways, food safety, exploiting the health promotion properties of food to improve food nutrition, influencing what people eat, and investigating the impact that policies will have on food security. Following quickly after Future Africa came the announcement a week ago that the first image of a black hole, you'll recall Einstein's theory, has been captured by an international group of scientists. They achieved this by building a virtual radio telescope of the size of the Earth. We're extremely pleased that Prof. Roger Dean from the physics department of this faculty is a member of that team. When we negotiated with Prof. Dean to join the University of Pretoria a few years ago, we knew that this would set UP on the trajectory to become a global player in the field of astronomy. Ladies and gentlemen, attracting the best academic talent, whether in the form of staff or students, is vital for the university to achieve its core vision, and that is to be a leading research-intensive university in Africa, recognized internationally for its quality, relevance, and impact, and also for developing people, creating knowledge, and making a difference locally and globally. The truth is that in this Faculty of Natural and Agricultural Sciences, Prof. Roger Dean finds himself in the company of many world-class scholars. For instance, the faculty hosts 4 researchers who have been included on the 2018 Web of Science list for the world's most highly cited researchers. Also in 2018, 2 of our academics in the faculty received the prestigious A1 ratings from the NRF, the National Research Foundation, for 2018, bringing the number of A-rated scientists of the university to a total of 14. And just to explain, ladies and gentlemen, A-rated scientist is recognized for being a world leader in their field of study. In addition, Prof. Eshar Mirachi from the Department of Biochemistry, Genetics and Microbiology received a so-called P rating from the National Research Foundation. This category, recognizing excellence in young emerging researchers, is very rare in the country. Still from the faculty, Dr. Bianca Verlinde, a young researcher at UP's Institute for Sustainable Malaria Control, is one of 6 young South African female scientists nominated by the Academy of Science of South Africa to attend the 68th Lindau Nobel Laureate meeting in Lindau in Germany. Such is the standard of research in the faculty that in addition to academic staff, our students also received accolades, and I would only highlight a few of them. Ms. Ofenze Matibela, an honor student in plant science, was named as the winner of the best poster in physiology, ecophysiology, and biotechnology at the 45th annual conference in South African Association for Botanists in January 2019. At that same conference, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Annelieke Blom was awarded the best oral presentation by a PhD student. A master student in environmental management, Piladri Tlatla, received a prestigious annual award from the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research for her participation in the Green Talents International Forum for High Potential and Sustainable Development Projects. This to promote the international exchange of innovative environmental ideas. And I can continue. 2 PhD students, Ms. Fiona Mumoki and Ms. Andrea Wilson, conducted research in Sub-Saharan Africa, are amongst a group of 14 women who were awarded fellowships by the L'Oreal UNESCO for Women Science Program in December 2018. With such excellent results, ladies and gentlemen, it is little wonder that the University of Pretoria is the choice for South Africa's top-performing school learners. Of the 9,800 students that we registered, first-year students that we registered in 2019, over 40% of that cohort of students had an academic average of above 80% in their school examinations. And of that 40%, more than 9% achieved an average of above 90%. Ladies and gentlemen, this faculty also has excellent relationships with its industry partners, who are often the future employers of our students. One example recently is the signing of a memorandum of agreement between the University of Pretoria and the Animal Feed Manufacturers Association of South Africa, better known as AFMA, to the value of 50 million rands, in which we would like to establish a feed mill of research facility at the university's Mirki Leroux experimental farm. But this is only one of many collaborative agreements between university and the industry around the future of agriculture. Collaboration with industry, with our academic peers, and with the communities that we are located in is essential to ensuring the continued relevance and ultimate sustainability of our university. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to conclude with a short message to our students. To our graduates today will unlock a world of uncapped potential. It is in your hands to act now in order to shape the future of our country in the future. Your choices are limitless. Strive for greatness and make a profound difference in the world. In the words of the well-known author J.K. Rowling, quote, we do not need magic to change the world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already. We have the power to imagine better, unquote. Let me congratulate you and your families on an immense input that you have made to realize your achievements here today. I wish you all the very best in your future journey, be it by continuing with your studies here at the University of Pretoria or excelling in the workplace when employed. For those who enter the workplace, remain committed to your alma mater by supporting our alumni initiatives. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I now request our acting dean to introduce to me the candidates present whose names appear on the program.
Mr. Vice Principal, the supervisors will now introduce the doctoral candidates.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduced to you Martin Adakwa-Yadom, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophia Doctor with a thesis titled Sorghum Proanthocyanidins, Degree of Polymerization, Bioaccessibility, and Antioxidant Properties as Influenced by Extrusion Cooking, prepared under my supervision. In his thesis, the promovenda studied the effect of extrusion cooking of turning sorghums to produce an instant porridge on the bioaccessibility and antioxidant properties of proanthocyanidins. Extrusion cooking was effective at depolymerizing higher molecular weight proanthocyanidins into lower molecular weight forms, and this depended on feed moisture. Depolymerized proanthocyanidin units from type 3 turning sorghum porridges were more bioaccessible than units from type 2 turning sorghum porridges. This was hypothesized to be related to differences in deposition of condensed tannins in the two tannin sorghum types. The porridges displayed strong antioxidant properties by protecting plasmid DNA and Keiko2 cells from oxidative damage. This work makes a substantial contribution to functional food research and highlights the potential of sorghum-based foods to contribute to combating oxidative stress-related chronic diseases. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Adedola Suleiman Adeboye, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophia Doctor with a thesis titled Composition, Functional and Nutritional Quality of Marama Storage Root and Starch Prepared Under My Supervision. In his thesis, the promovendus reported the physicochemical composition and food properties of Marama, a non-domesticated climate-smart root crop found in southern Africa. The food value, nutrition, and functional characteristics of the root and its extracted starch were investigated. In terms of nutrition, the candidate found that Marama was higher in soluble and insoluble dietary fiber compared to potato and sweet potato as commercial food product, and with similar in vitro starch digestibility to sweet potato. Molecular properties of the extracted Marama starch were similar to commercial sweet potato, cassava, and maize starch, but the viscosity was twice that of cassava and maize starch. The promovendus was the first to scientifically report the morphology and molecular arrangement pattern of Marama root starch. The study shows the potential of Marama root as a food crop and its starch as a thickener in food system. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Festus Ademei Adejoro, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophy Doctor with the thesis entitled The Use of Condensed Tannin and Nitrate to Reduce Enteric Methane Emission and Enhance Utilization of High Forage Diet in Sheep Prepared Under My Supervision. In his thesis, the promovendus studied the antimethanogenic potential of nitrate and condensed tannin as dietary additive in ruminant animal nutrition. He conducted a series of in vitro and in vivo studies to determine the effect of nitrate application methods and the interaction effect of nitrate with dietary tannin on nutrient digestibility, rumen fermentation, and growth performance of sheep. His findings showed that nitrate could be incorporated into feed treatments, particularly when low crude protein roughage are inside to improve their nutritive values. Animals supplemented with nitrate instead of urea showed improved weight gain and reduced enteric methane emission. The encapsulated tannin product developed by the promovendus revealed a slow release pattern and effectively reduced enteric methane emission in sheep without depressing feed intake and nutrient digestibility. His findings suggest the importance of encapsulating tannin from Acacia merensi when it is used as a dietary additive in ruminant animal. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Babatunde Agabniga, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophy Doctor with a thesis titled Effects of Timing and Duration of Low Voltage Electrical Stimulation of Light and Heavy Carcasses on Meat Quality of South African Feedlot Cattle, prepared under the supervision of Professor Edward Webb. In his thesis, the Promovendus studied the effect of timing and duration of low voltage electrical stimulation, LVES, on meat and carcass quality of commercial feedlot cattle. Proteolytic enzyme activity, muscle energy, metabolites, and histological parameters were evaluated. It was found that early LVES of heavier carcasses favored shear force and color, and it was concluded that heavier carcasses of acceptable quality, which favors slaughterhouse pricing, could be produced and processed alongside smaller carcasses by optimizing post-mortem carcass pH, muscle metabolomics, and the conversion of muscle to meat. The use of LVS has the potential to reduce the variability in meat quality while reducing occupational risk to meat workers. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Abidion Mayowa Akamu, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophy Doctor with a thesis titled Effect of Medicinal Plant Extract from West Africa on Rumen Fermentation Parameters, Enteric Methane Emission, and Growth Performance in South African Merino sheep, prepared under my supervision. In his thesis, the Promovendus studied 7 medicinal plant extracts for their effect on modulating rumen fermentation and reducing enteric methane emission from ruminants. The in vitro studies showed that the plant extracts were able to reduce enteric methane emission without affecting the digestibility of the feed. The plant extracts used in this study were stable and effective after 12 months of storage. However, their efficacy depended to some extent on the type of substrate which was used, with a greater effect on poor quality feeds. The in vivo studies also revealed that plant extracts from aloe vera, Moringa oleifera, and Jatropha curcas were able to reduce enteric methane emission from sheep by up to 35% without negatively affecting the digestibility, growth performance, and welfare of the sheep. His study makes a valuable contribution to research investigating the replacement of antibiotic additives such as monensin, with alternative plant-based products. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidates.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Witske Oke Chamberlain van der Werf, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Inclusive Businesses in South African Agriculture, Conceptualization of Complex Structures and Assessment of Inclusiveness. In a thesis, the promovender explored the heterogeneity of partnership structures between agribusinesses and smallholder communities. To determine what model works, she developed a conceptualization that identifies these models as multi-instrument setups. She then introduced a novel methodology to assess the way in which these smallholder farming communities are included in the value chains. The research confirms that inclusive businesses give smallholder farmers access to commercial value chains. However, the study sounds a warning on the threat of increased corporate control over smallholder resources, the limited benefits that accrue to smallholder farmers, and the need for additional frameworks to achieve rural development and agricultural transformation. These findings are highly relevant in the current debate on land that is taking place in South Africa. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Torknais Zavamaziva Jombo, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophi Doctor with a thesis entitled Gamma Irradiation of Cowpeas to understand the mechanisms responsible for the hard-to-cook defect, prepared under my supervision with Professor Noshat Emmenbucks as co-supervisor. Cowpeas, a pulse-type legume, plays an critical role in protein nutrition in sub-Saharan Africa. However, their utilization can be limited by a very long cooking time due to development of the hard-to-cook HTC defect, which is caused by storage of the seeds at high temperature and high humidity. In his thesis, the candidate applied gamma irradiation to deep polymerized pectin and other non-starch polysaccharides. His work further elucidated the science of HTC defect development and found practical solutions. The research indicated that the formation of a particular type of pectin, namely alkali-soluble ester-bonded pectin, is probably involved in the cowpea HTC defect. Of great practical significance was the finding that the entire HTC phenomenon is eliminated by simply cooking a paste of milled cowpeas instead of the whole seeds. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Abadi Gebri Mezgebi, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophi Doctor with a thesis entitled Sorghum Waxy and High Protein Digestibility Traits and the Relationship with Malting and Dough-Based Product Making Quality, prepared under my supervision with Professor Riet de Kock and Dr. Kabedi Abagaz of Hawassa University as co-supervisors. In his thesis, the candidate studied novel sorghum lines with combined waxy, that is high myelopectin type starch, and high protein digestibility traits that have been developed through conventional breeding. These novel sorghum lines were evaluated for their brewing and dough-based product, that is injera, traditional Ethiopian flatbread and sweet biscuit quality. He found that the waxy trait, either alone or in combination with a high protein digestibility trait, substantially improves sorghum malt quality and injera quality when compared to products from regular sorghum. Hence, the waxy sorghum has considerable potential to partially replace barley malt and teff respectively in these products in countries such as Ethiopia, where sorghum is a major cereal crop. The research findings are now in the process of being implemented. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, I introduce to you Elizabeth Mkandawere, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophy Doctor with a thesis titled Interpretations of Gender and Implications for Policy, a case study of Malawi's nutrition policy making process. And this was prepared under my supervision. Elizabeth Mkandawere's thesis explored how interpretations of gender influence nutrition policy design in Malawi. Using an integrated framework for gender analysis, she found that Malawi's national nutrition policy and strategic plan reinforced gender biases and ignored the complementary role of men in ensuring child nutrition. She investigated what facilitated men's involvement in maternal and child nutrition, highlighting the role of traditional leaders in changing socially entrenched gender relations. An innovative policy dialogue was used to validate her findings and provide recommendations for the forthcoming policy. The dialogue revealed that policymakers' awareness of gender biases can improve the responsiveness of policies, and that dialogue between communities and policymakers is essential in policy design. The recommendations from her dialogue were taken up in Malawi's multi-sectoral nutrition policy and strategy. Mr. Vice Chancellor, Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Felicity Nomfozo Mkize, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophy Doctor with a thesis titled A Critical Analysis of the Production and Reproduction Efficiency of Nguni Cattle, Bos Indicus Africanus, in different geographical regions of South Africa, prepared under the supervision of Professor Edward Webb and Professor Michiel Scholes as co-supervisor. In her thesis, the Primavenda studied the effects of non-genetic factors such as dam age, bioregion, season, and birth year on the production and reproduction of Nguni cattle, based on cow and calf production data that was collected over a 20-year period. Results indicated that the productivity of Nguni cattle varies between regions. By region and the age of dam affect reproduction efficiency and calf growth from weaning to 18 months of age. It was concluded that cow performance, weight, and intercalving periods were affected by environmental factors as well as the management of breeds. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Kedibone Ivan Mudika, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophy Doctor with a thesis titled Visual Assessment of Meat Surface Structure and Meat Color to Predict Beef Tenderness in 5 South African beef cattle breeds, prepared under the supervision of Professor Edward Webb and Dr. Lorinda Freiling as co-supervisor. In her thesis, the provenda studied the possibility of predicting meat tenderness through subjective and objective evaluation of color characteristics and structural properties of the surface meat. Visual measurements included color, marbling, fiber separation, texture, and structural integrity. The results indicate that it is possible to predict tenderness through visual evaluation of certain muscle surface structures. Fiber separation, structure integrity, and marbling show great potential in predicting meat tenderness through visual evaluation. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Petogo Ineleng Munau, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophy Doctor with a thesis titled Phenotypic and Genetic Characterization of the Indigenous Tswana Goat Population in Botswana, prepared under my supervision, Professor James Nonsoso and Dr. Karina Visser as co-supervisors. In her thesis, the provenda studied Tswana goats from 4 ecological regions in Botswana. These goats play a crucial role in food security and the alleviation of poverty in rural populations. The current study was the first in-depth phenotypic characterization of this unique genetic resource. A survey analysis on the population highlighted the limitations for designing effective breeding programs. Genomic diversity based on the 50K Jote SNP array indicated high genomic diversity and low inbreeding. In comparison with Swazi and South African goat populations, the Tswana population also exhibited a large effective population size. This study makes important recommendations for the optimal utilization and conservation of the Tswana goat as valuable genetic resource. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Sifiso Mboneni Ntombela, who complied with the requirements for the degree philosophy doctor with a thesis titled A General Equilibrium Analysis of the Effects of Carbon Tax Policy on South Africa's Agricultural Industries. This was prepared under my supervision as well as Dr. Ballman as the co-supervisor. In his thesis, the promovendus quantified the economy-wide effects of proposed policy with particular emphasis on the agricultural sector. Using an updated dynamic computable general equilibrium model with extensive detail, he facilitated an in-depth analysis of the agricultural sector. The research found that the policy is effective in mitigating the country's greenhouse gas emissions with minimal economic impact on most industries in the long run. Furthermore, the results confirmed that the agricultural sector is not harmed by the implementation of the carbon tax policy in its proposed form, which exempts agricultural industries from the tax. However, there will be short-run adjustment costs as the economy transforms and moves forward with the green energy sources. This will necessitate a careful planning and reallocation of resources to assist vulnerable industries and workers. The research makes an important contribution to the carbon tax debate by providing scientific evidence on the potential winners and losers based on a detailed breakdown of the economy, updated trade parameter estimate, as well as the projection for energy technologies. These contributions will further enable economic modelers to conduct accurate policy analysis at an industry level that will be both informative and credible to policymakers and industry role players. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Thomas Rafulu, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophy Doctor with a thesis titled Nutritional Status, Nutrient Requirements and Gastrointestinal Development of Scavenging Village Chickens in the Vembe District Municipality, Limpopo Province, under my supervision. The promovendus studied the nutritional status, growth performance and carcass composition of free-range chickens. More in-depth knowledge of these factors and traits are necessary to improve village chicken production, specifically in the Venda region. Growth, digestive tract development, survival and hatchability of scavenging chickens were below genetic potential. Free-range chickens consumed insufficient quantities of protein, calcium and phosphorus, but feed concentration levels of especially aluminium and iron were high, which may pose risk to chicken health. By supplementing the normal diet of scavenging chickens with high-quality protein, calcium, and phosphorus, productivity can be improved. An increase in the supply of high-quality dietary protein to people living in rural villages will contribute towards sustainable livelihoods and help to alleviate malnutrition and poverty in South Africa. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Janine Sainsbury, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophiae Doctor with a thesis titled Oxidative Stability and Shelf Life of Sunflower Oil in Water Emulsions as Affected by Pro- and Antioxidants and Temperature, prepared under my supervision and with Professor J.B. Dudu as co-supervisor. The shelf life of oil in water emulsions such as mayonnaise and salad dressings is limited by lipid deterioration, which leads to the formation of undesirable compounds with rancid off-notes. Antioxidants are added to retard lipid deterioration through various mechanisms. The effectiveness of antioxidants are usually evaluated in model emulsion systems over a period of 6 to 12 months, which has time and cost implications and poor representation of commercial products. In a thesis, the Promovenda studied antioxidants in a commercial oil in water emulsion under ambient and multi-factor accelerated storage conditions. She demonstrated the value of applying a multivariate accelerated shelf life test to screen the effectiveness of antioxidants in the commercial product. This allowed the prediction of the deterioration of the shelf life by the intensity of sensory attributes, pungent and cardboard aroma, in as little as 20 days. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Thulani Sibanda, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Philosophiae Doctor with a thesis titled Characterization of Listeria monocytogenes Responses to Food-Related Stress and Population Dynamics in Soft Cheese, prepared under my supervision. In his thesis, the promovendus studied responses to environmental stress among South African strains of Listeria monocytogenes, the etiological agent of listeriosis, and the influence of such responses on the physiological status of the cells and their behavior and fate in contaminated foods. Using single-cell techniques such as fluorescence, activated cell sorting, vibrational spectroscopy, and quantitative RT-PCR, the promovendus was able to elucidate the biophysical and molecular changes associated with Listeria monocytogenes stress response. In his study, the promovendus shows the role of strain and stress response heterogeneity in influencing the extent of cell injury, resuscitation kinetics, and persistence of the pathogen in contaminated foods. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Agatha Carol Zuo, who has complied with the requirements of the degree Philosophiae Doctor with a thesis entitled An Assessment of the Potential for Food Assistance to Improve Household Food Security in Crisis Situations, Evidence from Mozambique, which was prepared under my supervision. Her thesis assessed the potential for food assistance to improve household food security situations in Mozambique. This entailed investigating the influence that cash and food assistance had on the food consumption patterns, the precautionary behaviors, and dietary diversity and quality compared to a sample of non-recipients. The beneficiaries received either a cash transfer or a basket of food. Food transfers led to the adoption of fewer negative precautionary strategies than did cash transfers. Food transfers also improved dietary diversity, whereas cash transfers led to the inclusion of more nutrient-dense foods in the diet. A combination of food and cash could stimulate demand for nutritious food by addressing the purchasing power constraints. This demand could have a pull factor in terms of local food systems, with the potential to drive food system changes and improve food security even during crises in Mozambique. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Agriculture. In extension, Ntombizethu Umakwanazi. In Extension and Rural Development, Chulumancho Mahlombe. In Rural Development, Noni Makosi. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Agricultural Science in Agricultural Economics. Aubrey Chimaliro. Tanil Herter. Temdeni Kumalo. Nomfundo Langwenya. Sipokuhle Mahlati. Sikanyiso Mazia. Gwenzi Mondoro. Masejo Moobi. Eustensia Monsaka. Munashi Mushamba. Ndid Zulafi Nengwekulu. In Agricultural Economics, Harad Lungu. In Agronomy, Lesehu Mariseng. In Animal Science, Animal Breeding and Genetics, Shenray Carter. Jani de Vos. Janka Limper. Dennis Lochner. In animal science, animal nutrition, Alette de Villiers. Bakang Litlole. Judith Rosenstrauch with distinction. Christo Wust. In animal science, livestock production and ecology, Anton Gresse. Anna Shanika. In animal science, production, physiology, and product quality, Tamara Duplessis. Devin Feldsman. In animal science, production, physiology, and product quality, Ilandri de Bruin. Dina Dakeva. In horticulture, Samuel Paulo. In plant pathology, Robert Conrad. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Consumer Science. In clothing management, Chelsea Mandy. Gert Muller. Claire Trollop. In food management, Renee van Wyk with distinction. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Science in Food Science, Nomsa Chimuti. Shanae Creer. John Lubale with distinction. Humbulani Nekudziga with distinction. Ayanda Sibanze. In wildlife management, Cecilia Prinsloo. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Agriculture Honours in Extension. Cynthia Kotruza. Elia Lupalo. Mfano Fikile Mabuza. Charmaine Maholobela. Matomi Matsebeti. Olani Nkosi. Patience Yakata. Lusanda Sinde. In rural development, Tokomelo Ramanguele. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Agricultural Science Honours. In Agriculture Crop Science, Nokwanda Dlamini. Swazi Dube with distinction. Kolelwa Kwambe. Siboniso Magwaza with distinction. Siabonga Ndlangamandla. Nhlanhla Shabangu. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Science Honours. In Food Science, Richard Woodland. Beverly Abes. Anouk Hennek. Michael J. Anthony Genvay. Nadia Hubert. Rensha Levis, with distinction. Ikheteteng Mlangeni. Lerato Muilwe. Karabu Mokoni. Kopis Modloutsi. Demisha Perumal. Anya Stale. Jenna Toy. And Shannon Valley. In Nutrition and Food Science, Kelly Hargrave. In soil science, environmental soil science, Alicia Butt. Sean Malherbe. Gert van Zyl. In wildlife management, Elisabetta Carlin. Caroline Hanweg. Janke Locherenberg. Morney Oosthuizen. Frans Reineke. Suanay Truter. Tosca Vanroy with distinction. François Winterbach. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Agricultural Science in Animal Science, Dylan Baytop. Silke Beumer. Nikki Buys. Ashley Carey. Christian Sillier. Kaylee de Villiers. Renette Dodd. André Duplessis. Jacobus Duplessis. Toinette Duvenage. John Gerber. Marna Greef. Lou Grobler. Carla Herbst. Ruben Holmes. Kayla Honeysett. Ntabiseng Masemola. Shante Mhlaba. Ndisi Nduli. Tuanay Nivot. Simbongiseni Nkabinde. Zander Pretorius. Jacobus Raad. Anel Retief. Karel Reineke. Dean Roberts. This candidate also receives the J.J. Veenstra Floating Trophy for the animal science student who displayed the most zeal in both the theoretical and the practical training of the degree. The prize is shared. Hermanus Rousseau. Wayne Saunders. John Scoombie. Christopher Steenkamp. Daniel Stoffberg. Dominique Tarr. This candidate also receives the South African Society for Animal Science Prize for the best student in animal science. William Tindiger. Nairobi Tsie. Mariska van Tonder. Jan van Zyl. Kyle Venter. Tian Venter. Annemarie Verhoef. This candidate also receives the J.J. Veenstra Floating Trophy for the animal science student who displayed the most zeal in both the theoretical and the practical training of the degree. The prize is shared. Tanya Verle. In applied plant and soil sciences, Tran Lee Croning. Alec Abers. Aiden Human. Brett Muirhead. Munay Pieterse. Ruan Rousseau. Michelle Stanton, with distinction. This candidate also receives the South African Society for Crop Production Medal for the best BSc Agriculture student in crop production. Wynand Wagner. In agricultural economics, agribusiness management, Timothy Blaker. Wesley Ferguson. Theodore Halls. Jean-Pierre Coetzee. Saskia Kruger. Dwelihle Langa. Kamogelo Mabusa. Taiba Miller. Lindo Kuchlim Nisi. Mwaka Mukumbe. Meldia Ngubeni. Christopher Voerendijk. André Wenzel. In animal science, pasture science, Graham Holm. Jacques Milan. Johannes van der Merwe. Shanna Wells with distinction. In food science and technology, Lisa Marie Breed. Luyanda Dladla. Stellar Frisbee. Jabulo Mpumulo. In plant pathology, Rotondwa Mafenya. Tumisang Mohobo. Mina Molomo. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Consumer Science in Clothing Retail Management, Sue Ann Boetis. Mariska Brink. Chantay Buys. Jade Charters. Tara Cliff. Gillian Glute. Caitlin Corinaldi. Genevieve Gand with distinction. Kelly Gibbon. Angela Grace. Megan Grobler. Kelly Hammond. Carly Heistek. En Hui Huang. Sabrina James. Tanya Yannick. Rita Jansen van Vuren. Chanel Jonker. Bo Kramer. Merida Kritzinger. Michaela Lombard. Anzel Libbe. Rit Meyer. Melona Naidu. Marizel Oosthuizen. Megan Payne. Carla Prinsloo. Sinkobile Shishlobo. Tabang Sitole. Othelia Smith. Anola Spiridis. Rajia Tayop. Arabel Trierlicht. Marlene van der Hout. Lauren Wilken. Nicole Walker. En Marjolein Wort. In Foods Retail Management, Michelle Alborough, with distinction. Kelly Boekhout. Cambridge, Derbyshire with distinction. Robin de Villiers. Claire Gibbings. Kirsten Grant. Ian Hodgson with distinction. Sheree Hubert. Courtney Landsberg. Siobhan Marnevik. Jessica McLean. Mariska Meyer. Bronwyn Rodel. Monique Rousseau. In hospitality management, Justine Brown. Taryn Courtney. Paige Ingram. Neo Kezwa. Sanele Nzube. Zinat Osman. Marcel Siepker. Kelsey Amor Taljaard. François van Zyl. Sofia Vasconcelos with distinction. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Science in Food Science, Katlego Baiki. Michelle Fourie with distinction. Margot Human. Sarah Candolo. Sibongile Kuzwayo. Nicholas MacDonald. Marumo Manakana. Yanei Marie. Alvin Marvick. This candidate also receives the South African Society of Dairy Technology Meritorious Award for a student in the Department of Food Science who achieved outstanding results and who displayed exceptional enthusiasm for the dairy component of the syllabus. Marimetia Masenya. Frankie Mashaba. Eugene Mashamba. Karina Mendes with distinction. This candidate also receives the South African Association for Food Science and Technology Merit Award for the most outstanding student in the final year for the degree BSc Food Science or BSc Agriculture in Food Science and Technology. Boitumelo Mogola. Zanele Mtetwa. Asanda Nkonyane. Adriana Pretorius with distinction. Brittany Worthington. In food science, Faiza Locke. Petunia Ramoroka. In nutrition, Emma Stacy. With distinction. Yvonne van Zyl. In the BSc Consumer Science Hospitality Management, Taryn Kotsia. Michaela Marquides. Mr. Vice Principal, I want to acknowledge as a correction that the degree Master of Agriculture in Plant Pathology achieved by Mr. Robert Conrad was with distinction.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have almost come to the end of this ceremony, but before we close the ceremony, I would like to request once more our families and parents and also our lecturers to give a last hand of applause for the performance of our students. Then I would like to ask our graduates to give to our parents and our lecturers your appreciation for the support that they gave you throughout your studies. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the proceedings. Before we close, I would like to invite each one present here to refreshments afterwards in the marquee situated just at the front of the Rembrandt Hall. You are requested to stand for the singing of the national anthem and to remain standing until the assembly has been dissolved and the academic procession has left the auditorium. The words of the national anthem are printed in the inside back cover of the program. Please rise. By the powers vested in me, I hereby dissolve this assembly of the University of Pretoria.